The prose is titled as On the Way to Goregaon, which is written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He was honored with Bharat Ratna in 1990 posthumously. And what does this prose talk about? This prose talks about untouchability. Who's the kindest soul here? My aunt. Could be asked for 1 mark question. Hello, hi, namaste and welcome to Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the temple of excellence. I am Nanda Kishore, faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, MYSURU. In today's session, I am going to discuss one of the prose prescribed to first semester B.A. and B.C.A. MYSURU University. The prose is titled as On the Way to Goregaon, which is written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Let us see what is this prose and let us discuss this prose in detail. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is also known as B.C.A B.A Ambedkar and also the architect of our Indian Constitution. He was born on 14th April 1891 and he died on 6th December 1956. He was a jurist, economist and anthropologist. He was honored with Bharat Ratna in 1990 posthumously. It means after he died in 1956, he was awarded Bharat Ratna in the year 1990 after his death. Let us straight away get into the prose now. Before I start this prose, let me tell you, this is a written piece collected from his major work, Waiting for a Visa. This is the work he published in 1936. Actually, he read it in Thane, Maharashtra. He read what he has written and it is also autobiography. Yes, it was written by B.C.A B.A Ambedkar himself. And what does this prose talk about? This prose talks about untouchability. What is this untouchability? If you remember, untouchability is a social stigma. It is one of the social evils where the people who belong to the last varna and they lie, these untouchables, they are laid the last varna and they are subjugated. They are ill-treated. They were treated worse than animals. Untouchable in the sense, the people who belong to the higher caste, they are not supposed to the people who belong to this varna. And here in this prose, Ambedkar talks about the pain, the difficulty, the humiliation, the subjugation. He talks about how well the people of the same society ill-treated him. And this is one of the experiences where he has written and it has been widely read. So let us see this prose now. Our family came originally from Dapoli Taluka. It is one of the taluks of the Ratnagiri district of the Bombay Presidency. Now he is talking about Bombay Presidency before independence, right? From the very commencement of the rule of the East India Company, my forefathers had left their hereditary occupation. Hereditary, he especially highlights hereditary occupation. They had given up where they had to clean the human waste. Occupation for service in the army of the company. So all his forefathers had given up their hereditary job and they had joined the army. My father also followed the family tradition and sought service in the army. Even his father did the same thing. He rose to the rank of an officer and was a subedar, one of the rank holders, or officer, the policeman, when he retired. On his retirement, my father took the family to Dapoli with a view to settling down there. But for some reason, my father changed his mind. The family left Dapoli for Satara, where we lived till 1904. So they left Dapoli and went to Satara. Satara is one of the places in Maharashtra. The first incident which I am recording as well as I can remember occurred in about 1901 when we were at Satara. This is the incident he is recollecting, and this is the incident where we are going to discuss now. My mother was then dead. Remember, by then, 1901, his mother was dead. My father was away on service as a cashier. Now, he is working as a cashier at a place called Goregaon. Remember, now they are staying in Satara, and from Satara, they have to go to Goregaon. In Katwa Taluk, in Satara district, where the government of Bombay had started to work of excavating a tank for giving employment to famine-stricken people who were dying by thousands. There was a famine and he was working as a cashier there in the place called Goregaon. When my father went to Goregaon, he left me, my brother who was older than myself, and two sons of my eldest sister who was dead. This is very important. He is giving a description about his family and this could be asked for 1 mark. So, who was it? He left me, my brother who was older than myself, the elder brother, and two sons, not the sons of his father, two sons of my eldest sister. So, they become nephew to Ambedkar, who was dead. In the sense, the sister, Ambedkar's sister is dead and her two sons were left behind in charge of my aunt and some kind neighbors. He had left behind so many things. My aunt was the kindest soul I know. Who is the kindest soul here? My aunt. Could be asked for 1 mark question. But she was of no help to us. Why was it? It's because she was somewhat of dwarf and had some trouble with her legs. She had problems with her legs, which made it very difficult for her to move about without the aid of somebody. Oftentimes, she had to be lifted. I had sisters. They were married and were away living with their families. Even the sisters, they are married and they are living away with their families. Cooking our food became a problem with us, especially as our auntie could not account of her helplessness manage the job. It was very difficult because there was no female character here who could take the responsibility of these young boys. So what did they do? We 4 children went to school and we also cooked our food. Who are these 4 children here he is talking about? Ambedkar, his older brother, and 2 sons of his sister who happens to become his nephews now. So they cooked the food themselves and they went to school as well. They had to do their own chores. We could not prepare bread. Bread, it could be roti or chapati, any sort of rice bread. So we lived on pulao. It's a rice item, pulao, which we found to be the easiest dish to prepare, requiring nothing more than mixing rice and mutton. They are going to mix rice and mutton. Being a cashier, my father could not leave his station to come to Satara to see us. There was a problem. His father is working in Goregaon and they are residing in Satara. Therefore, he wrote to us to come to Goregaon and spend our summer vacation with him, which is the happiest time where the children would expect from their parents to leave the town they are residing and to go around and see some new stuff. We children were thoroughly excited. That is what he says is now. They are really excited over the prospect, especially as none of us had up to that time seen a railway station. Look at this words used. Ambedkar is telling, he is giving a picture to the reader. He is putting out his emotions in front of the people that till that point of time, they had not seen anything which is very exciting. And moreover, he had not seen the railway station at all. Think about it. It goes on. Great preparations were made. Now, this is the first time. It is sort of a feeling that people might prepare themselves to fly these days, right? They might have not crossed the seas and they want to go abroad. They want to cross the borders and they want to get on the plane and to want to experience this new feeling, new experience. The same kind of experience what you might have experienced for the first time getting on the plane, even Ambedkar and his sibling and nephew, they are experiencing. They are experiencing the same thing here. So he's making himself and the people around, remember the older brother and nephews, even they themselves are preparing them so much. They're excited now. New shirts of English make, very important. English make, it's quite different. Yes, Indian made, maybe it is not without button, right? There is no buttons. And English made, it would be with button, or maybe style is quite different. And he especially says, English made, yes, make bright, bejeweled caps, bejeweled. The caps which will contain a sort of jewelry, right? New shoes, very important. New silk bordered dhotis. So what are they carrying? This could be asked for 1 mark. New silk bordered dhotis were ordered for the journey. It was ordered. My father had given us all particulars, whereabouts, what to do, how to get in and how to get out, and what is the train fare, everything. Particulars regarding our journey, and had told us to inform him on which day we were starting so that he would send his peon to the railway station to meet us and to take us to Goregaon. So everything was perfectly planned. His father had told the people, the kid there, yes, the 4 kids, and he had told that you have to inform me which day you are going to start so that I can make some arrangements so that I could come, or either I can send my peon to pick you up so that you can reach Goregaon. According to this arrangement, myself, my brother and one of my sister's sons, only one son, not 2, one son, one of his sister's son left Satara, our aunt remaining in charge of our neighbors who promised to look after her. Now, they cannot carry their aunt. It's because she is completely dependent on people. She may have to be lifted by somebody, which is highly impossible for these young kids to carry her around. So what do? They leave their aunt in care of the neighbors. The railway station was 10 miles. Remember, it could be around 16 kilometers distant from our place, and a tonga, a 1-horse carriage, was engaged to take us to the station. We were dressed in the new clothing especially made for the occasion, and we left our home full of joy, but amidst the cries of my aunt, who was almost prostrate with grief at our parting. Now she is lying on the floor, almost completely lying on the floor, that she is crying that you people are going to leave me, or maybe it's because that, just for a couple of days or 3, that she is going to miss them. When we reached the station, my brother bought tickets and gave me and my sister's son 2 annas. Remember the currency. Each, myself and my sister's son, 2 annas each as pocket money to be spent at our pleasure. With 2 annas, right? That is the value of currency they had. Now, in today's present generation, if the kids are given 1,000 rupees, they would bark at their parents saying, what can I buy out of this money? I can't even buy my footwear. I can't even go out in a restaurant and eat something I like or have, or consume something I love. I can't even go to eat pizza. I can't take my friends out, right? They may require 5,000, 10,000, I don't know. It depends on your caliber to spend money. But with these two Annas, 1-marker question possibly, and it says, Ambedkar says, spend at our pleasure. It's like as if they are owning 1 lakh rupees in their pocket. We at once began our career of righteous living and each ordered a bottle of lemonade at the start. Lemonade? 1-marker question. After a short while, the train whistled in and we boarded it as quickly as we could for fear of being left behind. We were told to detrain at Masoor, one of the places. From Masoor, they had to go to Goregaon, the nearest railway station for Goregaon. So Masoor, even this could be asked for 1 mark. And then what happens? The train arrived at Masoor at about 5 in the evening and we got down with our luggage. In a few minutes, all the passengers who had got down from the train had gone away to their destination. In few minutes, everybody dispersed and they left the station and reached their places. We 4 children remained on the platform looking out for my father or his servant whom he had promised to send. Remember, Baba Sahib Ambedkar's father was working in Goregaon and he had promised, he had written a letter saying that just let me know on which particular day you are going to leave to Goregaon and I'm going to make arrangements and I'm going to send a peon. And neither of them have arrived now. Long did we wait, but no one turned up. An hour elapsed, an hour went up, and the station master came to inquire. He asked us for tickets. We showed them to him. He asked us why we tarried, why we are wasting time here, spending time. We told him that we were bound for Goregaon, we are supposed to come to Goregaon and that we were waiting for father or his servant to come, but neither had turned up and that we did not know how to reach Goregaon. This is the first time they are going, and most importantly, this is just simple writing. But remember, it's giving the detail. What is the detail is giving here? It is the first time he is going to Goregaon, and the very first time, imagine anybody for that matter. If you board the plane, yes, you are traveling for one of the countries outside India. It could be anywhere for that matter. And the very first travel or the experience is pretty bad. What is your impression about traveling then? The same pain, the same plight is experienced by Ambedkar. He writes in this prose the way they were treated by the supreme caste people, by their own fellow beings. And he continues, the very first time he gives the details that they waited for his father or peon and nobody turned up, and this is the first time they didn't know. Possibly, had they known how to reach Goregaon, they would have done some arrangements, they would have taken something. And this is the first time they are going and they don't have any idea how to reach Goregaon now. We were well-dressed children. From our dress or talk, no one could make out that we were children of the untouchables. Now he is giving the complete details here. The or the untouchables. Untouchables. Indeed, the station master was quite sure we were Brahmin children. Now he is saying we were Brahmin children and was extremely touched at the plight in which he found us. As is usual among the Hindus, the station master asked us who we were. So they wanted to know who they are. As it is usual, only after knowing your caste, they would do the rest of the business. Whatever it might be, maybe the talking or touching or doing something more. We don't know. Only after they knew which caste you belong to, they would continue further. As is usual among Hindus, the station master asked us who we were. Without a moment's thought, I blurted. Now, Ambedkar says, I blurted. I just like put out the word. I blurted out that we were Mahars. And he gives the description. Mahar is one of the communities which is treated as untouchables in the Bombay Presidency. Not just in Bombay Presidency, for that matter, throughout India. He was stunned. Who was stunned here? The station master. A station master is embarrassed. He thought that the kids, the way they are dressed, they might have belonged to Brahminical caste, Brahminical caste or Brahminical family. But after Ambedkar revealing himself that they belong to Mahars, possibly one marker question, which caste do they belong to? Mahar. Now station master has changed himself completely. The feeling is in air. His face underwent a sudden change. This is very important. A sudden change. Very important. Why? Because if you happen to touch an untouchable and realizing that you have touched an untouchable, the immediate expression would be very sudden. It's like you're almost dead. You're polluted. You're defiled. That is the importance of using this word. We could see that he was overpowered by strange feeling of repulsion. Now is giving up all his words, all his expression, which he showed the moment he met these kids. He's saying no, he's going to stop himself. As soon as he heard my reply, he went away to his room and we stood where we were. Imagine, think about you being in that position, in that place. Imagine, we might belong to any caste today. I don't like to speak about any religion or caste in particular, but imagine that we belong to the higher caste, and even then, belonging to higher caste, there is a community. Imagine, possibly any community outside the country who would come here, dominate us and ill-treat us. What would be the feelings about ourselves? The same situation even Ambedkar and his sibling and the nephew is going on. Now he says, they stood where they were. 15 to 20 minutes elapsed, again passed. The sun was almost setting. The father had not turned up, nor had he sent his servant. Now, everything is very important here because it is getting late and these kids are very small, very young, and they cannot be left alone in the station. Very danger. And now, the station master had also left us. Even he left us. We were quite bewildered, right? Shocked. And the joy and happiness which we felt at the beginning of the journey gave way to the feeling of extreme sadness. Now he says the moment of joy what we had in the beginning of this journey was vanishing. It has already vanished and it gave way to sadness. That's the reason I question you, possibly if you had experienced the same thing, the same feeling on your first journey, maybe it would possibly on train or plane. Can you imagine it? It pricks. And you would feel you would reach such an extent that you would not get on the plane or the train to have the second journey. And then he writes, after half an hour, the station master returned and asked us what we proposed to do. Now, after half an hour, he comes back and he questions all of these kids. What are you going to do? Are you going to remain in the station or are you going to take some mode of transportation to reach Goregaon? We said that if we could get a bullock cart on hire, remember bullock cart, 1 mark question, on hire, we would go to Goregaon, and if it was not very far, we would like to start straight away. Now they are planning if possibly they can hire a bullock cart they're gonna rent it out. Or if Goregaon is walkable distance, it is in walkable distance, they would start right away. There were many bullock carts plying for hire. This is very important. Many. Not one or two, many are there. But my reply to the station master that we were Mahars had gone round among the cartmen and not one of them was prepared to suffer being polluted and to demean himself carrying passengers of the untouchable classes. This is very important. He says that they had already tried asking to hire the bullock cart, but none. They had already gone around asking, but not one of them, not even a single person, agreed to take these kids who belong to untouchable category on their cart, and they never agreed being polluted or to demean, maybe to to demean their character. Now people would think, my God, you have touched the untouchable, you are polluted, you need to take bath. The character, they cannot question themselves. And he says that they are not ready to take anybody, not even a single person. We were prepared to pay double the fare. Look at this. Double the fare. But we found that money did not work. Even with money. Now you people think that money can buy anything. Think about those days. Even money couldn't buy the respect they wanted. After all, they couldn't hire a bullock cart. Think about the subject, this social stigma, the people mentality, what they hold against the untouchables. It is so bad. It is worst. And none of us would like to be in their shoes. And that is the reason Ambedkar, he comes up with an idea to protect his community people. But later, of course, though he belonged to untouchable category, he later on adopted. He just converted to Buddhism. He embraced Buddhism and he died Buddhist. Why did he go on converting himself to Buddhism? It's because of us. It's because of the people of India. It's because of the people of higher caste who went on ill-treating them, just like animals. The station master who was negotiating on our behalf stood silent, not knowing what to do. Now, even he is helpless. Suddenly, a thought seemed to have entered his head and he asked us, and he says, "Can you drive the cart?" Feeling that he was finding out a solution of our difficulty, we shouted. Now, they have went on asking for a bullock cart to hire. None of them agreed. They offered them double the fare. Even then, no solution. And even the station master is helpless. And he comes back to them and he says, "Can you ride or can you just drive the cart?" And of course, yes, this is the reply from these young kids. And he has some solution in his mind because even he is helpless because he needs to send them off to their destination. At least, thank God, they found the station master who is a bit caring towards this untouchable kids. Had he been harsh or rude or filled his brains or thoughts with this untouchability, they wouldn't have left the station at all. Anything might have happened. Possibly we wouldn't have read our constitution today. We wouldn't have been protected by our constitution. Anything might have happened. And he says, "Can you drive the cart?" And the reply is, "Yes, we can. We will drive." With that answer, he went and proposed on our behalf that we were to pay the cartman double the fare. This is very important. Double the fare and drive the cart, and that he should walk on foot along the cart on our journey. Who is going to walk on foot? It is the cartman. Why? Because if he touches these kids, then he will be considered polluted. He didn't want that to happen, so he decided he's going to walk along the cart side. One cart man agreed as it gave him an opportunity to earn his fare and also saved him from being polluted. And then it was about 6:30 p.m. This is very important. They left at 6:30 p.m. when we were ready to start, but we were anxious not to leave the station until we were assured that we would reach Goregaon before it was dark. So before it was dark, they had to reach Goregaon, and the time is already 6:30 in the evening. We therefore questioned the cartman as to the distance and the time he would take to reach Goregaon. He assured us that it would be not more than 3 hours. So possibly, think about it, 9:30 or 10 maybe. Believing in his word, we put out our luggage in the cart, thanked the station master and got into the cart. One of us took the reins, the leash, right, to hold this bull reins, and the cart started with the man walking by our side. Just imagine the condition of these young kids who are experiencing it in such a bad way. The very first trip, the very first short trip maybe, is going bad now. They have already had enough, and we don't know what's going to follow next. Let us see that in our next session. This is it for today's session. I'm going to meet you in my next session, the continuation part of On the Way to Goregaon. Until then, keep reading. Have a good day. Take care.